What is your favourite skill in Hypixel Skyblock? Well, combat's a pretty decent shout. Of course you have the whole of Dungeons and Master Mode, we've got Kudra, every single Slayer, the list is completely endless. Other players might say mining, after all there is a ton of progression through mining with a pretty complex system to upgrade pretty much everything. I wouldn't blame you if you said mining. With two huge islands being the Dwarven Mines, and also of course the Crystal Hollows. How about farming? After all, the Garden update made farming way better. Whether you see the Pest update as a plus or a negative, I guess the bottom line is you can still actually get more farming fortune from it. Even despite all the updates, farming is pretty repetitive. And I would assume farming isn't probably everybody's favourite skill, but I can understand if you say it, you know. It's more understanding than alchemy being your favourite skill, because that is truly boring. And a pretty bad excuse for a skill. But there's one thing that I can almost say for 100% certain, and that's that absolutely nobody said that Foraging is the favourite skill. Foraging has not been updated since the game came out. Since Foraging was a thing, Foraging has been the same. And it's... yeah, I've talked about it before, but it is kind of disappointing because it's such a huge opportunity. Like, realistically, in regular Minecraft, one of the main parts of the game is collecting wood, especially at the start of the game. It's kind of obsolete here in Skyblock. Here's the thing, we don't have a huge amount of information on the Foraging update. We got a little bit a few months back. Actually, it was around about the time when the Rift was released. However, at this point, I feel like Hypixel is pulling a bit of a GTA 6 on us. I've said it before, and I don't want to go into it too much again. There is literally nothing that you need from Foraging. I'd probably say the most useful item you can get from the Foraging collection is maybe be the Repelling Candle. Sure, you can get the Jungle Axe from Junglewood collection, but then having the best axe in the game, the Tree Capitator for mining wood, in the Obsidian collection is just beyond insane. The best foraging item in the game requires you to mine to actually get it, which to me makes minus sense, like my brain cells dissipated when I saw that. But regardless of all of that, there is inevitably going to be a foraging update at some point. So how do you prepare for that update? Well, first we have to speculate as to what the update is actually going to be. And before we get into all of that, if you are planning on purchasing anything from the Hypixel store, make sure to use code NITROS, it gets yourself 5% off. Also, you should subscribe to the channel. If you watch the videos all the time and you're not subscribed, you might as well subscribe. It would help a lot. Also, you should join the Discord server, it's linked in the description of this video. We offer slayers and dungeon carries, so if you need carries or want to carry and make some coins, make sure to join. So, I guess there's a few things to note. As of about 6 or 7 months ago, Hypixel described their progress on the Foraging update to be in the very early stages. That seems actually quite crazy, considering even then, that would have been almost 4 years since they introduced the skill, and didn't really do anything to it. We also know that they proposed, when they actually bring out the Foraging or the new Foraging Island, for it to be in an updated version of Minecraft, not in the regular, like 1.8.9 or 1.16, whatever the cap is. I mean, we all know that Skyblock optimally runs on 1.8.9, and it makes no sense not to play in that version of Minecraft. But they proposed that the Foraging update would be in like 1.20 or something, or 1.19, I don't know what it was at the time. Which made a lot of people freak out. But to be honest, for this video, that's kind of irrelevant. We also know that they've hinted at a similar system to a Heart of the Mountain system, and a similar route that they took with mining. Which really, to me, it seems like they're going to replace, or not replace, but in addition to axes and pickaxes like they had for mining, they then introduced drills, so it only makes sense for them to introduce something like chainsaws. I mean, kind of makes sense, right? And if we just simply search for wood on the bazaar, as you can see, we have the regular forms of wood and the enchanted forms of wood. Now, it kind of makes sense that if people are going to be chopping trees a lot, sure, you're going to be able to chop trees a lot faster and gain materials a lot quicker, and I feel like these enchanted forms just aren't enough. As we see for things like diamonds, we have regular diamonds, enchanted diamond blocks, and then we also have refined diamonds. Or maybe something similar to the gemstone system is added, where we have rough, and then we have flawed, fine, flawless, and perfect. So they don't have to be the same names, but something like that could be implemented too. Now, anything that pretty much happens in this update leads to one thing, and that's wood increasing in price, meaning that generally just foraging is going to make you more money. In addition to that, considering the fact that you can only really obtain like 100 foraging fortune at the moment, that's just a made up number because I literally don't know how much it is. But surely you're going to be able to get way more than that, meaning that surely you'll be able to farm wood quicker, which makes sense to have more compacted variants of wood, meaning that initially they're going to be very expensive. So if you already have a lot of wood stockpiled, then you would think that you could make a lot of coins. Once again, this is all hypothetical because we don't really know when this foraging update is coming out because we've not really been given an actual time frame. So yeah. Now, the thing is, aside from wood, there's not really much else from foraging that you can even get. See, I assume there must be a lot of new items being introduced in this update. There has to be. But before, like, for instance, the Dwarven Mines were introduced in the heart of the mountain tree, from mining, there was still a relatively varied selection of items that you could actually get. Whereas when we go in foraging collections, there is literally just the 6 types of wood. Which means that realistically, the only logical things to invest in, to hold on to until they go up in price after the update, is wood. So I don't want to say, oh, yeah, so to prepare for this foraging update, just get some wood. You see, the new items that get released are obviously going to require a higher foraging level. And I don't really know whether this is good advice or not. But in theory, the higher foraging level you have before the update, the better off you're going to be when the foraging update comes out, because you're going to be able to access all of the best gear. Of course, if something like the Heart of the Mountain Tree is introduced, then it doesn't automatically mean that you're going to get the max Heart of the Mountain. Of course, you're still going to have to grind for that. But being a higher foraging level is going to mean that you're going to be able to get more fortune immediately, meaning that surely you're going to be able to get those higher levels of whatever the equivalent is for the Heart of the Mountain Tree quicker. Now, it kind of makes sense to wait for the foraging update to get your foraging XP and foraging level up, but at the same time, to prepare for the foraging update, I feel like you should kind of do some foraging beforehand so that you can get an actual higher foraging level, which is a little bit contradicting. Well, you might ask, well, what kind of things do they even introduce into the when the foraging update comes out? What happens? Well, most definitely new axes. I would think something like the equivalent of a drill, so like a chainsaw. There's got to be some armor introduced because at the moment there is no foraging armor. There's a leaflet set, but it doesn't do anything at all. Maybe a couple of new pets. I mean, to be honest, the pets is probably the best situation we have. Investing in pets is probably going to be a decent idea because why not? Everyone's going to want these foraging pets when this update comes out. The monkey and the ocelot pet being definitely the primary pets to invest in. However, if you do invest in these pets, you're going to have to hold on to them for a long time. Let that be known. Well, I think, because we don't really know when the update's coming out, but I would assume it's going to be a long time. It's going to be at least next year. Something else I envisage that they're going to bring out in the foraging update is maybe some sort of foraging-specific event. Considering, well, the Spooky Festival is combat-specific, the Mining Fiesta is mining-specific, Marina's Fishing Festival is fishing-specific, Finnegan is farming-specific. There's got to be something that's introduced, right? Maybe it's a new mayor that has some sort of a festival or something, or maybe it's something else. But I envisage that maybe there's going to be a combat aspect to foraging introduced, whereby if you, like, maybe you have a percentage chance to farm wood up and then it spawn a mob that drops something that's specific to a festival, or I don't know, something like that would be really cool. And then you could have foraging-specific weaponry, maybe foraging-specific combat axes. I mean, they could do a lot with this update. It's just when it's going to come out. That's the real big question. And of course, we know there's going to be a whole new island because the leaks that we saw... Well, not even the leaks. I think it was a forum post that they put up a good 6 months ago, so that they were working on a new island, basically, altogether, which makes sense because that's when they were talking about maybe wanting new mechanics and maybe moving to 1.19 for the foraging the island. So I don't know about that. There was talks about them just having the foraging island in 1.19, meaning that you have to play the whole Skyblock in 1.19 just so you can access the foraging island, or switching versions of Minecraft when you go to the foraging island. They also toyed with the idea of basically changing the whole of Skyblock to 1.19, which is not a bad idea. It actually makes it better for them to develop the game more, but at the same time, does it run as well? Who knows? So basically, in order to prepare for this foraging update, what do you need to do? Well, first of all, you need to make a decision on whether you want to forage before the update, so you have, you know, more access to more new items, weapons, potentially axes, armor, whatever it is when it actually comes out, or whether you just want to progress through foraging when it comes out. I don't know, it's a hard one to call. And then probably just invest in things that we currently have, which isn't a massive amount of things, such as the wood that we have now. because maybe there's new types of wood that are introduced, and then things like axes and pets. There's not really much else to say. But anyway, let me know in the comments. Are you looking forward to the Foraging update? What are you doing to prepare for the Foraging update? If you're doing anything, when do you think it's going to come out? There's so many questions. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you do leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.